I'm going to make this all as clear as I possibly can because, quite honestly, I don't have time for BS, and neither do any of you. Donald Trump is going to be indicted for racketeering, bank fraud, and insurance fraud in New York City. He's going to be indicted for attempting to interfere with an election in Georgia. And he's going to be indicted for sedition in Washington, D.C. And yes, it was sedition, regardless of how many other people want to try to whitewash what happened on January 6th. Trump is going to be convicted in all three cities by testimonies of his closest associates. People are going to talk, plain simple. But let's talk about it for now, shall we? The New York Attorney General, Letitia James, has subpoenaed Donald Trump to be deposed in civil and fraud investigation. It appears that prosecutors intend to indict Trump both on civil and criminal cases. Attorney General James has been working closely with the Manhattan District Attorney, who impaneled the first grand jury last May to hear evidence of the Trump family's criminal activities in New York City. This grand jury, impaneled by retiring Manhattan District Attorney Sarah Vance, indicted the Trump Organization, which includes Donald Trump and his three eldest children as our officers, and also indicted the Trump family's chief financial officer himself. The Trump Organization and its CEO were indicted for tax fraud, grand larceny, and other felonies. Since July, the grand jury has been busy hearing testimony from a parade of Trump employees. It's not known which one of these employees has flipped and agreed to testify against their boss. Before the end of Vance's term on December 31st, 2022, this grand jury is expected to indict multiple employees, officers, and members of the board of directors of the Trump Organization, including personal indictments of the orange-faced buffoon, the wannabe Barbie doll he wanted to sleep with, but the basehead, and the butthead. Obviously, I'm talking about Donald Trump, Ivanka, Donnie Jr., and Eric Trump. In early November, a second grand jury was impaneled in Manhattan to investigate the difference between the value of Donald Trump having reported for each property of his tax filing and the value he claimed on some property with insurance carriers. The newly elected Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg will lead the prosecution of those indicted by both the first and second Manhattan grand juries. Alvin Bragg himself, who has a successful history of holding the Trump family responsible for fraudulent activity, including a principal role in shutting down the Trump Family Foundation after the Trumps redirected non-for-profit cash gifts donated to fight childhood cancer to Trump's political campaign coffers. You thought we forgot about that, Trump? You thought we forgot about the charity that you stole from? The money you stole from that was supposed to be geared towards helping kids with cancer? You thought we forgot about that, punk? There's a special place in hell for you just for that. Anyway, let's move on. Fulton County District Attorney Fannie Willis has a recording of Donald Trump committing the felony. She would put Brad Raffensperger, the Georgia Secretary of State, and every other Georgia official that Trump pressured into changing the vote in the witness chair. She's going to subpoena the Keebler elf, Miss Lindsey Graham, and each one of Donald Trump's other co-conspirators. Most will flip and testify against Trump to avoid prison. Those that choose to avail themselves of their Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination will be immunized by the court and directed to testify. It won't take long for Trump to be indicted in Georgia. The indictments in Georgia and New York are followed by other criminal indictments. The district attorney of Westchester, New York, has opened up a criminal investigation into Donald Trump's finances at his Westchester Golf Club. Working with two former Trump insiders, the Westchester district attorney has uncovered what happened is believed to be a $1 million insurance fraud. That's what he is. He's basically a bank robber. Anyway, now we get to the meat. The congressional investigation of Trump's attempt to overthrow the government on January 6, 2021, and Scotland's investigation of money laundering brings the number of Donald Trump's known criminal investigations to 5. Prosecutors are preparing to indict Trump in Georgia, Manhattan, New York, Westchester, New York, Edinburgh, Scotland, and Washington, D.C. I don't see any way out for Trump. Now, he may be able to dance his way out of 1 or 2, but he's not going to dance his way out of all 5. We are receiving intelligence that these 1 or 2 or 3 or maybe even all 5 indictments are going to be announced within the coming days. And Donald Trump, being Donald Trump, just couldn't find a way to keep his own damn mouth shut, and decided to go on his failing Truth Social to go and cry and, more importantly, push another possible insurrection. Our nation is now a third world and dying. The American dream is dead. The radical left and Antichrist have stolen our presidential election, and with it, the heart of our country. American patriots are being arrested and held captive like animals. While criminals and leftist thugs are left to roam the streets, killing and burning with no retribution. Millions are flooding through our streets, through our open borders, and many from criminal prisons and mental institutions, crimes and inflation are destroying our very way of life. Page 2. Now legal leaks from a corrupt and highly political Manhattan district attorney's office who has allowed new records to be set in violent crime, and whose leader is funded by George Soros, indicate that with no crime being able to be proven, and based on old and fully debunked by numerous officials of an Alva prosecutors, fairy tale, the far and away leading Republican candidate and former president of the United States will be arrested Tuesday of next week. Protest! Take our nation back! Trump, you are a crybaby bitch. I try not to curse in this video, but you are a crybaby bitch. I don't know what to say to this post from Truth Social, from Donald Trump. Only for the fact that he's a bitch, he's a crybaby, and he's acting like one of those. When we were kids, we hated getting vaccinated, the needles. Full disclosure, I cried like a baby, wailing when I got mine when I was a kid. This is what Donald Trump is now. He's crying like a bitch because he's finally being held accountable for his actions. He's never been held accountable for his actions ever in his entire life. He's never had to face the music, as it were. Now, he's facing the music. And this statement of protest Take Our Nation Back. This is January 6th all over again. And that's not me being hyperbole. That is the damn truth. We all remember what he said on January 6th on the Capitol, on the ellipse. March down to the Capitol. And you got a bunch of insane, unbalanced people out there willing to kill for Trump. That's right. They wanted to kill for the bastard. Make no mistake about that. Donald Trump is trying to incite another riot in this country. And before someone goes off and says, what about the summer of 2020, the summer of love? The George Floyd's tapes were brought out. Again, and I've said this I don't know how many times, I do not support what happened there. I understand the reasoning behind it. But I don't support what happened during the 2020 riots. The biggest difference is that we were reacting to an injustice, to a murder that has gone completely ignored by people like Donald Trump. You did what you did on January 6th because you decided to listen to the ramblings of a psychopath. You put this all on yourselves, Donald Trump supporters, and Donald Trump yourself, you put this whole thing on yourself. You were never taught that actions have consequences for good or bad. That was probably your father fucking you up. Probably almost the same way that you're fucking up your kids. Now, I said earlier that law enforcement agencies, state, local, and federal, are getting ready for the possible backlash of the announcement of Donald Trump being indicted. For those of us in America who are hoping that Donald Trump is served justice, be aware and beware. These people have already shown that they're willing to kill for this bastard. Be careful. Be safe. I'm not saying don't fight back if you feel like your lives are at risk. I'm saying please be very careful. It's bad enough that these people are willing to kill for a man who will abandon them at the drop of a hat. It means to save his own life. They're already done. See, they're not dead. These red hat MAGA hyenas, they're dead inside. They let themselves be conned by a con man. Don't let them drag you down with them, because it's not worth it. It is not worth it. For you MAGA hyenas out there just waiting for an excuse to start firing weapons, don't. Stay home. Do not listen to these jackasses like Trump, like Green, like Lake, or anyone else out there who is just begging for a civil war to prove their loyalty, their fealty to Donald Trump. He is not worth it. And to Donald Trump, I say this. You got only two choices left in you, boy. You can either accept the fact that you're about to take responsibility for your actions and face the music like a man, the man you wish you were, or you can just hang out with Vladimir Putin in Russia. Because that's probably the only way you'll be able to save your own ass, is if you run like hell. It's up to you, Trump. Be a man or be a coward. CTP, know the truth. God bless. Peace to the left, justice to the right.